Thank you for all these questions.
Good evening, and welcome to the Sioux Falls Candidate School District Candidate Forum. My name is Deborah Owen, I'm Public Policy Director of the Sioux Falls Area Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber would like, joining with the League of Women Voters, I'd like to thank all of you for attending, and the Chamber also will offer to extend a warm welcome to the League of Women Voters as they partner with us in so many forms every year. Our moderator tonight will be Marilyn Bliss, who is a member of the League of Women Voters, but she also is a former school district board member. Thank you, Marilyn.
Tonight, we're going to have 3 candidates speaking. The order will be Todd Telke is number 1, Kate's number 2, and Peter is number 3. Peter Pischke and Kate Parker. And that'll stay all night long, but I'll start with different people and rotate through quite equally. Remember to raise your card to get a candidate answered, a candidate question submitted, and try to phrase the questions so that everyone, each of the candidates can answer. We will not read questions which are addressed to individual candidates. Please understand that I may combine questions on a similar topic, and if your question doesn't get asked today, feel free to stay after the event to speak with the candidates or contact them by phone or email. We ask at this time that you silence your cell phones. So do we have any dings to happen? Please silence your cell phones. And we ask that you not have any conversations in this room, but take them out to the lobby. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and answer why did they decide to run. And they may also take this opportunity to address anything that is of special interest to them in those 2 minutes. Then we will move on to the questions, and candidates will have 90 seconds. I will pay attention to Harriet Scott, who has colors that mean things about minutes, and the red one means stop. I've recently been a docent in the school district in the music program, and I learned a technique to have people stop talking in the classroom. So I will use that if I need to. There is no rebuttal time, and candidates will all be given an opportunity to answer each question. I will rotate which candidate is first to respond to a question. At the end of the forum, each candidate will have an additional 2-minute closing statement to comment further on issues brought up or to comment on a topic that was not covered in the questions. Candidates, timers, are located in front of you, and they have signs to let you know 1 minute, 30 seconds, and time's up. Then thank you for following the time limits in advance, and if you go over the time, I will let you know. We'll start with introductions. Todd Telke, Kate Parker, and Peter Pischke. I have to eat it, okay. Very good. So our very first question, or our first person to speak will be Todd for 2 minutes.
Great.
And then we'll go to Kate and to Peter.
As we have figured out, my name is Todd Telke. I'm asking for your vote to continue to serve as a school board member, representing almost 24,000 students, staff, and the taxpayers. Much has been accomplished over the last several years, including the raise of teacher pay, a long overdue upgrade to Howard Wood Field House, the hiring of a superintendent that has increased the quality of our school district and increased our graduation rates, and also helped put together a strategic plan. There is still a lot to do, but I truly feel that we are heading in the right direction and things are going well. I hope in the upcoming years we can continue to increase the graduation rate, embrace the opportunity that our diverse population offers us, open more doors for secondary education, whether it be college, technical school, or a trade school. This will help increase the quality of our workforce. We need to provide students with the tools so that they may obtain quality employment and enticing them to stay in Sioux Falls. We must make sure that each and every student has the opportunity to enjoy a quality, successful education. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate?
Good evening. Thank you for being here. My name is Kate Parker. I have been a member of the Sioux Falls School Board for 9 years now. Last year, I had the privilege of serving as vice president, and this year, I'm president of the school board. And it's been a privilege to serve in that capacity this year. I've learned a lot. I have dedicated this time that I've been on the school board ensuring that all of our kids receive the very best education, one that's both enriching and academically challenging. I have dedicated my time to ensuring that teachers and staff feel supported and have the resources they need so they can educate and nurture our kids. I have dedicated my time to listening to students, listening to staff, and listening to our community. I have 2 boys in the school district, one in elementary school and one in middle school. So I feel I have the experience as a parent and as a current school board member that make me a good candidate for school board. We do have challenges and opportunities in our school district. Our facilities discussion that we're going through right now, I think, is a very important one, and one that requires someone with some experience on the board to see us through. It will see our district through the next 20 years, and I think that's an important discussion we're having right now. I'll close just by saying it's been my privilege serving our community, and I hope if reelected that I will continue to be able to do so. Thank you.
Peter?
Excuse me. Good evening, my fellow Sioux Falls ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here with you tonight. I am a product of the Sioux Falls School District, and to be here as a full member of society and to discuss some of the issues and worries we have for the school district with the school board members here is an honor and a privilege, and thank you for that. Also, thank you to the other school board members that are here in the room. I've noticed at least 2 of you. I know the third is somewhere in there, but I wasn't catching it. Thank you all, Superintendent Meyer. Some candidates came tonight. They're hoping that we could increase the attention that the Sioux Falls public puts to our elections. Some we have here, we have Mr. Thor Barden. We have, he's running for city council. Tyler Swanger, he's running for Senate. Janet Brecky, who's also running for city council, and more. Thank you for showing up tonight and participating in the public conversation. I know I just ate half my time. Condoleezza Rice said that education is the armor against prejudice. And for many of the ills in society that we have, education is the solution to it. I am primarily running because I'm worried about the mental health and stability of many teenagers. The suicide rate for teenagers right now is at the highest it's been in 40 years. And while I appreciate the efforts of the school district and staff do make, I think we could do even better. And that is why I want to join this illustrious school board. And that pretty much sums it up. Everything else they said I'm totally cool with too. It's kind of already taken. And thank you again.
Okay. We'll start with Todd, then go to Kate and Peter. This is a double question. What positive things have been happening in Sioux Falls School District? What could use improvement? District survey. While the district already surveys faculty, would you commit to a yearly survey of families, students, graduates, and community residents about what they see as major strengths and shortcomings of the district and its schools? Would you be committed to sharing the results? Subjects: school safety, whether families feel welcome and respected, understanding, and agreement with priorities.
Are they all going to be this long?
No, but the double one is.
The first part, what are the positive things that we have going? There's many. I think that First, our facilities study is something that might be past due, and move forward to help our district, maybe help the schools grow a little bit. And the negatives, I would say that is also a negative. We're probably a little overfull right now, and that may be a little bit of cause of some of the behavior issues. I would also like to see our staff more reflect our students as far as their ethnicity. Now, the survey question was, would I allow a survey?
Well,
Yeah.
they survey faculty. Would you commit to a yearly survey of family, students, graduates, and community residents?
You know, I'm one of 5 school board members, so after some discussion, I don't see that would be a horrible thing to have. And would we share them? Certainly. We're open and transparent. I don't see that would be an issue at all.
Good enough. Thank you. Kate?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Todd touched on this, and we have a strategic plan in place right now. It's a 5-year strategic plan. It's a living, breathing document. It does not sit on a shelf. And we have goals and strategies within that strategic plan that we are focused on. And some of those with the first year of the strategic plan, we did see some upwards trends that we're really proud of. Graduations went up. We did see a little bit more diversity with our staff, but there's always room for improvement. And our third grade reading scores aren't where we want them to be, but we will continue to work on strategies to get those up. So I think that we are moving in the right direction, and that strategic plan is truly that. It's our strategic plan, and we're working through the goals and objectives through that. In terms of a survey, I know that we've done surveys in the past with parents and community members. I can't remember the last time we did one. And I would certainly be in favor of doing another one if it's been, more than a few years since we've done that. We do a staff survey every year, and I think that surveying the community and hearing from them is a very important piece to what we do, and that's why it's such an important part of our facilities conversation right now as well, is with the community. And I would, as Todd echoed, that we would absolutely be transparent about the results, just as we are with our staff survey as well.
Peter?
Yeah, I'm glad there's only 3 of us, because that's quite a question. Okay, so I don't know how I'll start the survey part, mix it up. Surveys are awesome. More research, more public input, more communication is always good. It can be very hard and tempting sometimes when the results you get aren't as nice. I think sometimes because we live in the Midwest, we have a Midwest mindset. My grandparents are totally this way. Don't let them see your dirty laundry. Put the best foot forward, and the rest of the stuff can kind of hang back. And the school districts and the schools sometimes do this. It's totally understandable, but I think I would say that we need to be able to have a survey and be okay with whatever results come back. Last year, Mickelson, then candidate Mickelson, now school board member Mickelson, was telling how she was looking forward to a study they were going to do on pre-K students here in the Sioux Falls School District, elsewhere in the state. Unfortunately, the SD legislature killed that off. I don't know that's not an area I'm a specialist in. But I think that any research we do is great. One thing it is Martin Luther King Jr.'s 50th anniversary of his death. You look at the makeup, the strata of the Sioux Falls student body, and it's incredible. All the different languages are spoken, all the different races and ethnicities, all the different religions and different backgrounds. And there's relatively little friction. I had friends when I was in school that came from all parts of the world. I had a friend that came from, Southeast Asia. I had another friend that had lived in Liberia and had seen just awful war and famine. And they come here, and we get along, and it's fantastic. That's an amazing thing the Sioux Falls School District does, and I would like to point that out.
Okay. Peter, you're first on this one.
Okay. Todd was first last time.
So is it
No.
flip-flop, or is
No.
it her turn
No,
next?
it's
Or are you going that way?
It's Peter.
Okay, sorry.
No.
All right.
I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2. So
It's Peter.
it's Peter. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1. Then 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Peter, do you see yourself primarily as a representative of the community or as a representative of the school district?
Ooh, that's a good thing. So I was when I was talking with the SDEA people, that's the South Dakota Teachers Education Association, it's a teachers union. They were great. We talked about, education. Sometimes we think that, well, only the people with kids, they really care what happened to the school district. Only really what happened to the school district matters to them, but that's not true. I kind of look at it this way. The city council is dealing with the adults of now, but the adults of tomorrow are in our school district. The leaders of tomorrow in our businesses, in our organization, our churches, on the city council of the future, those kids are in our school district right now. So we all have a very vested interest in the community. And so when you are at here at the school board, you sit on two great pillars. The pillars of the community, but also the pillars of the school district and the interests of the families and their children and the staff.
Kate?
So it's my opinion as an elected official that, or an elected member of the school board, that I represent the community. You're elected by, this position is elected by members of the community, and therefore that's who you should be representing. Obviously, we work very closely with the school district and as members of the school board, and we work with each other as school board members. I think too, I walk into a school and I always have to tell them, like, I've got my parent hat on, just please don't think of me as a school board member. And maybe that's hard for teachers and principals to grasp or understand, but I'm like, I'm here as a parent. So I kind of see my role as a school board member in three ways. One is to serve the community. One is, again, just me being a parent and as a community member, because I'm affected by the decisions we make as well here.
Very good. Todd?
Well, I agree. I definitely serve the community, and in serving the community, we serve the school district. We look out for people that don't have kids, taxpayers, people with kids, people that don't have kids in school yet, people that have kids that aren't born yet. So we're without question looking out for the entire community, trying to represent them the best, and looking out for our school district, which is what we're elected for, to be school board members on. So I would say we're definitely community members. We look out for the community, and the school district's part of that.
Good enough. The next question, with our legislators reluctant to fully fund education, how will you educate the legislators?
Me? Okay. That is an excellent question, because 9 years on the board, we've been trying to do that. I think that just continuing to have conversations, especially at the local level with our local legislators, is key. I know that in the past, we have invited them in to come meet with us and let us show them what we're doing in the school district and how important funding is for us, just in terms of teacher pay and making sure we've got all the resources that we need for our kids. But that's what I would propose that we continue to do, is just open our doors, invite them in. Hopefully they're more willing to come in as than they have been in the past years. But welcome them in, show them what we're doing, and let them know how important it is that we need their support for funding at the legislature.
Peter?
Okay, sorry, I didn't know who was next. I was a journalism major in college, not math. It's not my strong suit. That's a bit, I mean, it's the way it's worded is a little bit loaded, heavy, but the funding is very necessary. And the problem, I think, it goes in that the needs of the Sioux Falls being so much bigger than the other cities, than maybe Rapid City community gets close, is that our needs are so much different than what much of the legislature, I think, is trying to fund. And so I think that we're continually, the funding, the way it's designed and the formula is that there's just always just a little bit, not enough to meet all our needs. And I know it's very unpopular to bring this up because we did bring a sales tax and the public has been very kind to cooperate with that. But we'll have to have soon a very unpopular conversation about having another bond because all our buildings are full or past full. In fact, most are past full. The fact that we continue to operate, the school district continues to operate so well with buildings over capacity is a testament to our amazing administrators. But yeah, funding definitely something that will continue to be worked on, especially in the near future. But I imagine if things stay the way they are, will always be a fight between here and the South Dakota legislature.
John?
I learned a valuable lesson when we went out to Pierre for the sales tax. You go out and you're headstrong and you think you're going to tell them what they need to hear, and they're going to tell you what you need to hear. And I found after many trips out there, if you just have a conversation, I learned quite a bit from them. Not all of them did I agree with, and not all of them did I understand what they were getting at. But we sat down and had discussions, and one, I sat on the phone for a half hour, and we actually had a conversation. And so I don't think it really needs to continue to be us versus them. We know what we need. We need some funding. They've got a budget, and we have to show what the importance is of the money that we need and how it would benefit the entire state for us to get that. So I think we just keep the communication lines open and treat each other like human beings and adults, and I think we can all come to at least terms on what's best for the state.
Good. This is the first non-divergent question. Do you think school board members should have term limits? We'll start with Todd.
Well, I really don't. I know that's probably not the popular answer, but when I first started, I was told in 6 months you'll have this in no time. I learn every day. Early this morning, I spoke to a group, and there were some questions, and I learned from them. So I think you don't want me 80 years old on the school board. I get that, but I think the more time that you spend on the school board, the more relationships you build, the more people that you get to know, and the more you appreciate what we have and what we do.
Kate?
Yeah, we're about to head off to a national school board conference, and I know of one school board member who has served her board for 40 years. And I look at her and I don't think of her as being in a position where she can't serve anymore. I mean, I think she has a lot of value to her school district and her school board. So I don't know that I would say that we need term limits either. I agree with what Todd said. I mean, the first 3 years I was on the school board, I learned a tremendous amount, and I learned something new every day. And, we're changing every day too. So there's always room for growth, and I think having some experience on the school board is important, as well as new blood too, but sometimes you need to have that fine balance, I think, between the two, but I don't think that we need term limits.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before giving a very expected, obvious answer from the up-and-comer, I like to say that I really liked Mr. Thoke's answer to that last question. It was better than mine. It was a more responsible way of talking with a group sometimes the school district comes at odds with. That being said, now, American history, it used to be until FDR that traditionally, after a couple of terms, you would depart whatever office you were doing and move on to something else. But FDR set a new precedent that that wasn't true anymore. America kind of been there ever since. I think Americans, especially young Americans these days, have a bigger appetite and a bigger desire for term limits. And so in my lifetime, I very well could see that term limits could come back for loads of things. Should I think there should be term limits for the Sioux Falls School Board? I think to a point. I'm not saying that the people that are here are corrupt or they don't care or that they aren't smart and professional. That's not the point of breaking term limits. The point is to bring in new eyes from new perspective. Sometimes even the wisest person can get tired and jaded, and maybe they'll just see things differently. And so that cycle of new people coming in can often bring fresh ideas and fresh perspective and fresh passion. Now, do I think there will be Sioux Falls School Board term limits? No, I do not think it's going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about it. But if there's a political will and it does happen, awesome. But I just telling you where the political winds are right now, that is just not going to happen.
Peter, you're the first one on the next question. I'm concerned about reading achievement in Sioux Falls. What is the district doing to improve this?
The school district, okay, so this is a problem that, first of all, the school board, I do know, has tried different strategies as of recent. They just got a report last month as a key program that we had been trying out. Turned out that it was doing less well than just a classroom teacher. And so the school board has tried different strategies out. I am concerned because reading is really low in the Sioux Falls School District, and it's behind the rest of the state. In particular, some schools are much worse than others, and I don't think any one parent that goes to one of these schools really knows that their school might be considered, the scheme of things, a failing school at reading. Third graders, English language assessment is at 43%. And Condoleezza Rice, that was her big mission. She said, today, education is the new civil rights. This is the new issue. They say if by they're 8 or 9, if they don't gain a passion to read then, very likely they will never gain it. So it is a worry for a lot of people. So the problem is that the curriculum, the Sioux Falls School District doesn't have a lot of control over the reading portion of the curriculum, the Common Core curriculum, which is often found to not be a great one for building passion. They focus a lot on nonfiction documents, but not documents like founding documents, and non-documents is in like The Office. And that's not how you get kids to like to read. You get kids by bringing books that kids love to read. You know, I love dog books, and I loved adventure books, and I love books about World War II, and those are the things that made me want to read. And our teachers are right here, and they're willing to just go at it and teach all their hearts out. And if we would be allowed by the state legislature to have a little more control over our curriculum, I think we could do a lot of magic and really beat that score down.
Todd?
I think just the fact that we took the courageous step to stop the LIA program, finding it not effective, shows that we're keeping a close eye on our reading. We have to remember, you know, we're saying that we're really low, and we're really not. What we're forgetting about is we have a lot of English language learners. And for 6 months to a year, as we teach them to learn English, their scores are going to be low, and they're not going to be shining superstars, but they will. So we have to kind of accept that maybe we're not going to have the highest scores in the state or in the nation, but you know what? We're teaching some kids English that could be our workforce and could be people that are going to be productive members of our society. So I guess I don't hold a lot into saying that we're 42%. Our state's at 44%. I might be a couple percent off there, but I'm kind of proud of what we're doing. And for us to keep an eye on the at-risk kids, which we're doing, and we'll continue to search for what is the best way for us to teach kids to read.
Kate?
You know, it's been a big part of our strategic plan, as I mentioned earlier, third grade reading scores. And we are doing a tremendous amount to address that in the school district. We have the Summer Climb pilot program. We're finished our second year last summer, and third year will be this summer. And that's targeting kids that maybe have fallen behind in reading. And the way we know that is through our new MAP assessments that we started. And where we just looked at budget proposals to even look at that into middle school. So we'll be using a new assessment tool data-driven assessment tool to be able to look at each and every kid at multiple times throughout the year and see how they're progressing in reading. Todd mentioned the, return on investment with LIA. We've just done a lot of research over the last few years on what we can do to increase reading achievement. And as I said, it's a big piece of our strategic plan, and it will continue to be so.
Okay, you're first on this next one. What is your opinion of the process being used for the facilities study?
Well, personally, I think we're off to a great start. We are in what we kind of call phase 2 right now. We're moving into phase 3, but phase 1 was collecting all the information, collecting all the data. What do our buildings look like? What's our capacity at those buildings? What's our enrollment in those buildings? We then went into phase 2, where we had community meetings, community engagement meetings. We hired a facilitator to help us sort of see us through this process, and I think it's a really good one. We held 3 community meetings. I know that the administrators also held meetings with staff and students. We even heard some students that came to a work session and talked to us about what they feel like, what it looks like in their high schools, and we got perspectives from all the different high schools. So I feel like the process is really good. We're listening to our community, because that's our job. Our job as board members is to listen to what the community has to say. We have a community-led task force that will start meeting here in April, later in April, 2 meetings in April and 2 meetings in May, and they will come together and meet and go over all the discussion points and come to us, the school board, with a proposal or with some proposed solutions. So we're really hearing from the community on what you all think we should be doing to address the facility needs that we have in our district. So I look forward to that conversation.
Thank you. Peter?
I think the way the school board is handling this is awesome, and I give them 2 thumbs up. This is the perfect way we should go about asking the public about anything. The opposite, I just talked about the curriculum. This year, the Kirksgaard, the South Dakota Secretary, Department of Education, said that we got rid of Common Core. We didn't. It was pretty much a bold-faced lie. When they did ask for public input, they decided to do this. See, they say public input in the documents, but you look into it and it says, well, we asked 1,500 people with SurveyMonkey. As SurveyMonkey is not how you get a real public insight. This is the way you do it. You bring it to the people. You let them have their say, hear their insights, their complaints, their frustrations. And then you go forward with that. I can't say, I can't say enough nice things about the facilities meetings that they just had, and then they're going to have a facilities group. I think that last meeting at Roosevelt High School, there was a gal that came up. She was a single parent, Lakota mom. She told the group there that she was worried about her kid who was being bullied because he wears long hair, and that there was some other issues going on with behavior. And like, there isn't really a good place to do that other than these meetings. And I know officially that the school board meetings, the way that they're designed is you get a time at the beginning for public input, but it moves around what day of the week it is, and it's just a short little snip there, and then it's done. And I think because of the formality, the school board meetings, which is professional and good, isn't always the best for getting public opinion to vent their frustrations and issues. And if we could have more meetings like that, awesome. I think that, you want to make the city feel like they're connected to the school district and their money is being spent wisely and properly. You have meetings like this, and they'll we'll see their side, they'll see ours. It'll be great.
Thank you. Todd?
Many years ago, Vice President Alberty had brought up that maybe we should be looking into the potential of the need of schools. And there was some public discussion, and it really didn't go anywhere. I think when you're told what you need to do, at least myself, I want the information and I want to research it myself. So the approach that we've taken, or more so Dr. Maher, where going to the community long before the facility study started and asking the community, man, we're growing, we're busting at the seams. Tell us what you want us to do. Tell us what you think is best, for your tax dollars and for the kids and for the district. So for the whole process, what you didn't see behind the scenes was building up to the facility study. So I'm more impressed with that and the transparency and the ability to be able to say, we want to know what you think. And so now we're into the phase where it was an incredible 3 meetings where the public was able to stand up and tell us what we need to be looking at. And now the real meat and potatoes start, and I'm really excited to see what the committee comes back with. I mean, we really listened and were transparent, and this day and age, we hear that over and over, whether it's City Hall, whether it's the state of South Dakota, that we need to listen and be transparent. And right now, I think this administration is hitting a home run with that.
Thank you. Todd, you're the first one on this one.
Okay?
It begins with Dr. Maher. Dr. Maher recently spoke of the need to retain the Whittier School in that neighborhood. As a person who attended Whittier from kindergarten through 9th grade, I am very supportive of his comments. Would you be supportive of retaining a Whittier school? Why or why not?
Definitely. I am the current president of the Associated School Boards of South Dakota. And I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. for an advocacy group. And I went to, it was a whole seminar on inner city schools in smaller communities like us. And it spoke volumes about this exact situation. Dr. Maher hit it right on the head. This needs to stay where it's at and serve its purpose. It's also a great place for us to blend people. A great place for everyone from every walk of life to come and learn together in the city in a location that's in the center of town. I'm very much for it and agree with Dr. Maher's comments.
Good enough. Kate?
I agree. I live in the core of Sioux Falls, and I believe that investing in the core is paramount. Keeping Whittier where it is serves that community, it serves that neighborhood, and I think we'd all agree that we need a school there. If we need a school there. One thing that we've done as a school board and a school district is making sure that we do invest in the core of our community. We did that by building Sonia Sotomayor where Jefferson was. We did that by building Susan B. Anthony Elementary by where Mark Twain was. So we really reinvested in the core neighborhoods in Sioux Falls, and I think we will I know we will continue to do that.
And Peter?
I am a Wolverine. I'm a Winter Wolverine. I went there. That's why middle school. In my 7th grade, there was a teacher, Mr. Benedict. They called him Mr. B. He was really into I forget, it was one of those movies in the late 80s about teaching that they're really popular. And he would teach that, and he would say, okay, everybody, say ganas. And that was the phrase, ganas, with G-A-N in Spanish. My Spanish is not good. But he was an amazing teacher that made us really learn. And he was the teacher, I think, my first teacher I really had to make me feel like I could be a learner. Traditionally, I was not a very good student in public school. And it wasn't really until Mr. B came along that he showed, what I could be capable of. I really actually would like to know what happened to him, be able to meet him again someday. Amazing man. That building has been there since 1922. It is a Sioux Falls landmark. That community is probably lower income, is probably, I would expect, less, how can I put it? They used to say the term broken home, but that's not exactly PC anymore. It's a tougher community, but the positivity that school can bring to that community is totally worth it, right? Because schools, they have a feel to them. In the communities that you're in, the neighborhoods, those schools are part of those neighborhoods, and they have a good influence. I live on Hilltop near Cleveland Elementary, and that school is a landmark and a part of our neighborhood. And I imagine that Witter is the same way for them. So yeah, keep Witter. If the building can do it, and we can keep the building going, go for it.
Okay, you're the first one for the next question. At what level or levels is geography taught in the schools? What would you propose to strengthen geography at the high school level?
Oh, this is the subject. It's this and language that they say Americans are really bad at. Mr. B was also my geography teacher, and he was very tough geography teacher. We had to know not only nations, names, capitals, we had to spell them correctly, and he had a fun fact associated with every single one of them. And then he would make us draw our own maps. Then they had to be somewhat accurate. How he did it was tough love, essentially. He rewarded us when we put in the effort, and he made learning exciting and fun, and he treated us like adults. I think that was part of it, is that he treated us like we were learners. He was a teacher, but that we were learning together. It wasn't sometimes the old Sunday school teacher way where you feel like you're just dictating it out. Amazing man. I miss him. Geography is very, very important. I think it's something we should continue to learn, not let go. It is a harder subject. Let's just keep at it. No, that's all I got for you right now.
Okay, Todd?
Yeah, geography is important. I remember making topographical maps with my daughter in high school. I think it's important to know where we're at, where you're going, and when you travel around. I'm happy with what we do now, and I'd like to continue what we're doing.
Okay.
Part of the question was, at what levels is it taught? I know at least elementary and middle school, it seems to be taught at every level, from kindergarten up until my son is in 7th grade and social studies, and pretty sure he's doing some geography there. I think I'd like actually to know more of I understand the question a little bit better, so I'm not certain where the comment about strengthening it at the high school level. I guess I'd need to know more information before I answered that, but I know at least at the lower levels, geography is sort of taught amongst all the different subjects, whether you're talking about social studies or a specific geography unit. But in terms of the high school, I would need to know a little bit more information about that.
Okay. You're up on the next one. This is precise. What do you propose to make pre-K more accessible to all, with or without help from the state?
Well, that's a great question. I'd love to make it accessible to all, but we would need help from the state. We would need funding from the state to be able to do that. I have the privilege of sitting on the Head Start Policy Council, so I do know and understand the needs that we have in our community. I think I reported tonight that we have about 190 students on the waiting list for Head Start. And that's just the kids that we know about. I'm sure that there are many more out there. I know there are many more out there in our community that that would be eligible for Head Start. But as I said, I mean, unless we get the funding to be able to have it be school-based from the state, we would need that funding from the state. I don't see how else we'd be able to do that.
Okay, Peter?
Oh, pre-K. I have family members that I love very much that are in pre-K, and they did have to wait on the waiting list. And that was very frustrating. My family members I'm thinking of are low income. They do get assisted housing and some other stuff, food stamps, you know, to make the bills and to make sure the kids get taken care of. I know that it doesn't matter if you have money or if you're dirt poor, you want what's best for your kiddo. And you want that kid to do the pre-K because you're hoping that, well, pre-K, right? That'll help the kid be smarter, learn, get them adjusted. We all want pre-K. I think that's pretty universal want. There is a difficulty about how do you pay for it. I think we need to see if we can convince the legislature. And I think when we're talking about the future bond referendum, that maybe we can include pre-K, funding pre-K in the picture, just as an idea.
Mm-hmm. Todd?
You know, if we're talking about raising reading, this is a great place to start. But again, we can't do it without help from the legislature. I think it's a good conversation to have. But if we want kids to be reading proficiently at the 3rd grade, this would be an unbelievable opportunity to have, regardless of your status or where you come from. I think it's really important to have kids coming into kindergarten well established and able to read.
Good enough. Todd, you're the first one on this one. What do you think of the idea to put all of the opt-outs on the ballot and let the people vote on them?
Well, first of all, when you mean all opt-outs, I guess I'm not
I
understanding.
didn't write the question, so, but it's an audience question.
When we discuss it as a school board, I'm sure the opportunity to take it to a vote would be there. I think we're a responsible enough school board that the people understand we're not getting an opt-out just to stockpile money. This last opt-out was to help make sure we paid our teachers. With the half-penny sales tax, there was some ramifications to that. And we want to make sure when a year like last year where there wasn't enough money from the sales tax to help fund us, we had to pick that up and make sure that we paid the teachers. So I guess I don't really understand the question, but my answer would be if it's a huge concern, we would listen, come talk to the school board. But it's an important opportunity for us to be able to pay when we don't get money from the state.
Okay, Kate?
Yeah, I guess I'd kind of agree with Todd. I don't know that it's necessary to have it on a ballot, but that's also because we have a process in place where we do talk about it transparently and openly during meetings, and we hold a hearing, a public hearing. We have opportunities for the public to come to our school board meetings, which are the 2nd and 4th Monday of the month at 5:30 p.m. Regularly. And I think that, those times are set, so people know when they can come, and they can come and talk to us, and we would be absolutely willing to hear from them. I can say on the time that I've been on the board, we haven't had too many people come and discuss any concerns that they've had. I will also say that, as Todd said, this last time we voted on the opt-out, and last year, we only took what we needed. We didn't take extra. We looked at our budget, and we made sure that we were good stewards of the taxpayers' money, and we made sure that we only took what we needed.
Peter?
I would like to say that I'm really glad I wasn't the first person to ask this question. I think Parker and Thoge have both given pretty good responses. That's very difficult. Right now, and it's not just here, it is in the rest of the nation, is the question about what do we do with the sales tax? Because the sales tax traditionally is how, especially here in South Dakota, is how we fund things like public education. And of course, things are very much internet now, right? And I think the president was tweeting a tiff with Amazon about this very subject. What are we going to do about sales tax?
We need to stay on local district.
Okay, my apologies. Is that this is an issue that many people are dealing with. And hopefully in the future, the sales tax will be rectified. They either will find some other form of revenue, or that the sales tax will be collected better. That's pretty much all I got. I think what Thoki said in particular was dead on.
Okay. Peter, you're the first one on this one. Would you consider moving Howard Wood Field with the lack of parking that the event center brought?
I guess it would have to depend on the proposal where they would want to bring it. Like, it would be just, a cost-benefit ratio. Maybe we could talk about, because the city and a bunch of land now opened up as a certain steel company in town that says they're moving, and maybe we might want to use some of that land for the school district. I don't know. We have new, it's not developed, but we do have a bunch of new land that was kindly donated by, I want to say it was Denny Sanford, but I could be totally wrong. It could be the actual Sanford Hospital Group. Anyhow, and that would also be an option, put it there. I don't know. This isn't something normally people that talk to me about Howard Wood Field.
Mm-hmm. John?
I really wouldn't think that would be prudent. Right now, we're more concerned about housing our students and having enough room for the students. I pride our board on the last several years for building a new stand, putting a new field house, having new turf, having new lights. And this is a field that all 3 high schools get to use. So is it like state-of-the-art bells and whistles? No, but it's new, it's good, it serves its purpose. And I think that moving it would be an expenditure that would be not frugal.
Mm-hmm. Kate?
Yeah, I agree. I think we've put a lot of reinvestment into Howard Wood recently over the last 5 years or so, and I don't think it'd be the most efficient thing to go and move it now, especially as we're going into more needed facilities.
Okay. Let's see, we're coming back to Kate for this one. What is the current discussion within the school system relative to school safety? Where do you stand on arming classroom teachers?
I was hoping we'd get one like this. I don't think that school sentinels are the solution to the nationwide problem that we're having. I want our teachers to be able to educate, and I want our teachers to be able to protect our students in case anything were ever to happen. I feel like that's what their job should be. Unfortunately, in this day and age, not just educating them unfortunately, that's not just it. They are there to help protect our kids as well. But I feel really good about our safety plans that we have in place. We have a district employee who's a risk manager. He's a 2-star retired Major General of the U.S. Army, and he's been with us for several years now. And I know that he, along with the Sioux Falls Police Department, partnership with them, that they look and review these plans every single year. So I feel really good about the safety plans that we have in place. You know, I have as I've mentioned, I have 2 boys, and after this last shooting, my 10-year-old was scared to go to school the next day. And, sorry. I was able to tell him that I try to do everything I can to make sure that he goes to a school that's safe, and that's part of my job as a school board member. So when he complains that I have a school board meeting, I get to tell him, like, this is the reason why I do this. Anyway, so I feel really good about what we have in place, and I think our teachers should be there to educate and keep our kids safe, not carry guns.
Peter?
There were some, I'm trying to think of the name of the particular school district, much smaller school district, West Fear, and they felt that the solution for school safety for them was a Sentinel program, and perhaps that was what they were needed. Fortunately, we in Sioux Falls, we have resource officers, we have visiting police that participate in things like the DARE program. I know Superintendent, at least Mayor, talked on the radio that maybe this isn't something we necessarily want to put a lot of stock and money into, but I mean, I'd be very comfortable if we made sure that we had a resource officer at each of our middle and high schools at all times, and then we could say like one that rotates like every 3 or 4 elementary schools or something, some kind of proposal like that. I think the other part for school safety is mental health. Every single time that we've had these school shootings, they were either by students or former students with severe mental health problems. And the great author Tolstoy, this was one of the things he taught about. We're talking about reading. Okay, well, Tolstoy taught that sometimes when people get really desperate and angry and broken, instead of just killing themselves, they decide to commit an even more egregious evil, and that is to harm others. We need to try to help our students before any of them get even near that place. The problem with suicide that we have in the school district and the country at large is a tragedy, and it's one that's affected my family, and has affected so many. And when that happens, when suicide happens, that leaves a crater that almost never can be healed. Mm-hmm. And anything we can do to make our students safer from the beginning, so helping with mental health problems, and at the end so that we know that there's someone that can intervene if the worst possible of events takes place.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all.
Answer it.
Oh, yes,
I'll be quick.
you be quick.
No, I don't think teachers should carry guns. If there's anything that we lose sleep over as a school board member, this is it. We all want our kids safe and our schools safe. We continue assessing our security with the direction of Bob Bray, our risk manager in the Sioux Falls Police Department. I think we got to remain diligent and continue looking for ways to keep our schools safe and keep our kids safe. I have all the faith in the world in the Sioux Falls Police Department and our risk manager. So, no, I don't think that's a good move.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me answer that.
This will conclude our questions with Darnie's second responses. We'll turn now to closing statements of 2 minutes apiece. We do have many questions left. After these 2-minute segments are done, I'll be glad to share what questions haven't been asked yet today. So this is your time for your 2-minute, and it will start out with Todd.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. I'd like to thank all the people that put this together. My family's here supporting me tonight. There's lots of friends here. That's important to the support. I really want to thank Kate and Peter. It's not easy to run for an office, and it's not easy to sit up here and answer questions that we have got no idea what's coming. We spend countless hours door knocking, proving our commitment, proving to others and other groups that our commitment and where our heart is and how important this is to us. I do this because it's a passion and it's important to me. I want to continue doing it. I think we've got a lot going for us, and I think we got a little ways to go. So I hope that you'll, first of all, make sure to get out and vote. If you think that I'm a guy that can help and can continue contributing to the school board, I invite you to vote for me. If you don't think I'm the guy that can help, please vote for the one that you think that will. Thanks for being here tonight. And I want to also introduce John Paulson, who's running for council, and then Jack Colbeck, I see, is here too. Thanks, and have a good night.
Kate?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters for hosting and moderating this tonight, and for everybody here and your questions, and glad to see so many good questions. So I'm going to keep my closing pretty short, but I just wanted to thank you all for being here and asking really thoughtful questions.
Peter?
I would like to thank the League of Women's Voters for putting on this forum. Thank you to our host for leading us in this discussion, and everyone else that brought questions. Thank you for trying to stay committed to what's going on in Sioux Falls. It's not easy these days to put your head out into the public eye, and it's not easy to keep pushing on public people to listen and to stay on task. It's hard. I think right now our country is a little bit not talking to each other. And when we do, we're not always using the nicest words. But so the people that do take that effort, hands off to you. That's amazing. Keep at it. Thank you to the school board members here. People ask me, do you have a certain problem with President Parker or Todd Thoke? Not really. They seem pretty nice people. They seem to really care about what's going on in the school district. I think I can do a lot of good, and I would just like to serve our school district as a school board member.
Thank you very much. We would like to thank all of our school board candidates, not only for their contributions to today's forum, but also for their interest in serving our community. Good luck to all our candidates in the upcoming election on April 10th, next Tuesday, and we encourage all citizens to get out and vote, and you can vote between now and next Tuesday at the auditor's office at Minnehaha County building. In addition, we'd like to thank Sioux Falls School District for allowing us to use the Instructional Planning Center as well as our volunteers today. And we thank you, the audience, for giving voice to issues and concerns. We'd like to tell you that tomorrow on April 5th is the mayoral candidate forum at 7 o'clock in Washington Pavilion's Belbus Theater, but you must RSVP on the Chamber's website. And finally, join us at the Orpheum Theater on April 25th for a mayoral runoff debate, and more details will be announced at the later date. There are ballots here for you to look at. Sioux Falls School District is the first thing on the ballot, and so we expect to have the most votes to be cast in that. And we also know that there are 7 questions. Just quickly, how does open enrollment help or harm? What are your thoughts about teachers' unions, and how do you want to work with the union to improve our schools? What's your assessment of new tech high? Should we continue? With all the experts saying that our children are spending too much time on electrical, I think they mean electronic devices, how can you justify your vote to to waste more money buying Chromebooks for every second grader and making that problem worse? Where do you stand on LGBTQ agenda being taught in the schools? Where do you stand on Islamic ideology being taught in our schools? Where do you stand on gun control? What is your proposal to keep schools safe? Are you for freedom of religion, including Christianity, being discussed in schools? What are some of your ideas to help the students who have health problems during the school year? And how would you work with local businesses to form partnerships to improve our school? And with that, let's give a grand round of applause to 3 candidates. Yes. And it's my understanding they're all willing to talk to anyone who wants to come forward. And with that, have a good evening.
Thank you. No problem. I enjoyed it.
Hello. I can't, I thought we weren't having very many, and then.
I know.
And then it took longer than I thought. 3, 4, 5,
That's pretty good.
6, 7, 8, 9,